So the minute silence impeccably obeyed. And now I hand you over to our match commentators, Trevor Brooking, and first, John Motson.
So in being ever mindful of its past, football now has to turn its face firmly towards the future. And let's hope this is a symbolic first day of a safer, more sensitive era. And let's take our first gentle step back towards normality by checking on the two teams. Liverpool field the side that drew so tigerishly at Goodison Park on Wednesday. Alan Hansen took another stride back towards full fitness, but Ronnie Whelan keeps the captaincy, and Hansen has said it should stay that way for the rest of the season. Ian Rush is sub there. Now Nottingham Forest reverts to the team which won the Littlewoods Cup and the Seamod Cup, with Tommy Gaynor wearing the number 7 shirt in preference to Franz Carr. In fact, Franz Carr isn't even among the substitutes. There are two young strikers there, Lee Glover and Phil Starbuck. And Nottingham Forest, incidentally, have scored 106 goals in all competitions this season, and 7 of those players are in double figures in their own right. Well, I suppose the main question for you, Trevor Brooking, is, as a player, would you expect the two teams to be able to adjust immediately to treat this as a genuine semi-final, or are we going to have an inevitably subdued start?
Well, I think the noise of the crowd is a wonderful footballing atmosphere, and I think once now the ball is at the players' feet and they start kicking it around, and once that whistle goes to start this match, you then start concentrating on those 90 minutes or possibly 120 minutes ahead. And I think it is going to be such a closely balanced match that really they will put those sort of thoughts behind them and concentrate really on the match, and I'm sure hopefully it will be the classic that we always hoped it would be.
I think everybody inside the ground would endorse that. I'm told by Martin Edwards, the chairman of Manchester United here, that the crowd looks like being around 39,000. 12,000 tickets, it appears, now have been returned. More from Nottingham, I understand, than from Liverpool. But we're looking at a crowd of just under 40,000 in this splendid Old Trafford arena. And I think, looking back on that match I saw at Goodison, Trevor, it was clear that Whelan and McMahon in the centre of the Liverpool midfield were in terrific form. I suppose that will be a key area with Ronnie Whelan there playing so well, and McMahon alongside him. They were digging in so well for the ball the other night. Do you think that perhaps their battle with Webb and Hodge could be a major factor?
It will be a major factor. I mean, there's confrontations like that all over the field, but certainly in midfield, Stevie Hodge darting forward, and there Neil Webb, you know, who picks out people so well. There's Stevie Hodge, who, as I say, darts forward and really now playing alongside Webb rather than being stuck out wide on the left, where he has played a lot of his football. Seems, as I say, to really have got back all his form. And in midfield, Steve McMahon, Ronnie Whelan. Ronnie Whelan, I think, one of the sort of unsung heroes of Liverpool this season. And there's Brian Clough taking his seat in the stand.
Yes, we must just underline, of course, that Brian is still not allowed to sit directly on the touchline, and he did come out about an hour before the start with Ronnie Fenton, who's next to him there, just to check on the best available seat in the director's enclosure. One or two other well-known faces there that those of you at home will no doubt be spotting, but the referee has come into the centre circle. Ray Lewis there, who was in the same hotel as I was last night, and in fact spent some time with the police superintendents taking statements from the incidents of 3 weeks ago. But now Ray Lewis's mind is turned to the football as he calls the teams to the centre. Nottingham Forest all in white. Liverpool obviously in their familiar red, and perhaps the most interested spectators of all, among the many millions watching with you at home, will be Everton, who of course await the winners at Wembley a week on Saturday. It has to be decided today, as Desmond said at the start of the programme. We could have extra time, we could have a penalty shootout. Whatever happens, we're bound to get some drama, because this is the semi-final of the FA Cup, and it is Old Trafford, and it has started, and this is Nickel. And Pearce is there for Forest. Whelan, number 9, Houghton. Aldridge. Nigel Clough involved in his own half. Outside him, Gary Parker wearing 11. Nigel Clough wanted to get on with the throw, and Ray Houghton made contact with Nigel Clough. I don't think Ray Houghton meant to hit him in the face. I think it was an accident, but it certainly caught young Nigel in the eye. The referee has checked with his linesman. He's going to have a word with Ray Houghton. I think there's going to be a little apology here, which Ray Lewis will orchestrate. These two teams have two of the best disciplinary records in football. Flags up. That was Chapman and Hansen. It really is a good atmosphere inside the ground, Trevor.
Supporters are all in full voice, and I think an indication, early indication from Nigel Clough that Nottingham Forest certainly wanted to start in a very brisk manner, the way he tried to take that throw in very quickly.
That's aimed at Peter Beardsley. Aldridge is up with him, couldn't find Barnes. Number 8 for Forest. Neil Webb. Clough. Grobbelaar says that's okay. Nigel Clough, who scored in that semi-final that we reflected on a little earlier last season. This is McMahon. Des Walker and Terry Wilson, a little bit of a tangle. Aldridge, offside flags up against Peter Beardsley.
Interesting long ball that, wasn't it, from Steve McMahon early on. I think Liverpool might have noted a couple of goals that Nottingham Forest conceded against Everton in the Simod Cup last week, and interesting to see if they utilise that ball a little bit more than normal.
Houghton for Liverpool. Pearce. The two sequences of the two sides are quite outstanding. Liverpool unbeaten in 20 matches since New Year's Day when they lost here to Manchester United. Nottingham Forest have won 23 of their last 28 games and lost only 2 since they were beaten at Old Trafford on Boxing Day. So we have got two sides here with a prolific run of form. This is Staunton. Steve Staunton, 20-year-old left-back for Liverpool. Big occasion for him, did well. Hansen. Hansen at nearly 34. Houghton again. The long ball. That's searching out Johnny Barnes on the far side. He's free. Barnes, great save. Aldridge. A goal. John Aldridge. Liverpool in front. 4th minute. And the long ball towards John Barnes. Fox, Brian Laws. They got tangled up, 2 defenders in each other's way. And Barnes drove it. Brilliant save by Sutton. Really unlucky, the keeper. But John Aldridge, that's his instinct. That's his forte. And that's the lead for Liverpool. Foul. McMahon spoken to by the referee immediately. Trevor Brooking.
Well, a terrible mix-up between Tommy Gaynor, actually, it was, who came back. He's conscious that he perhaps should be back there helping Brian Laws defensively with John Barnes, and they got in each other's way, and that's how it all developed.
So, Forest a goal down in 4 minutes. Laws. Chapman. There was almost time seemed to stand still while that ball dropped from Aldridge's head, and everybody waited, and it dropped in the back of the net. And John Aldridge, keeping Ian Rush out of the side, scores his 26th goal of the season. And it puts Liverpool 1-0 up. Des Walker covering. What a start for Liverpool. It was a brilliant stop by Steve Sutton. I feel a bit sorry for him, really. This is Staunton. And Pearce this time wasn't sure. Houghton, oh, the whistle's gone. But as keepers, sometimes it comes out and it's not your lucky day, Trevor.
It was a great save. As it drops down, John Barnes not going, realising he's not going to get there, and suddenly sees him pop up, hits it with his right foot, and really John Aldridge reacted very well because it was behind him and he just looped in.
Well, that's why Aldridge's career scoring record is among the best of players anywhere in the game. Doesn't matter how you get them, as long as they go in. Houghton, free kick. In by Houghton. Barnes closes. Oh, it was Laws. Well, part of the rehabilitation of Liverpool has been the slow realisation on the part of Barnes and Aldridge that they could face playing football again, and they were both involved in that opening goal. Beardsley to Nicol. This is Houghton. And you just wonder whether this young Forest side, although they're growing in experience, just whether they'll have the resources to come back from that fairly stunning start. Mind you, they were 1 down to Luton, weren't they, in the Littlewoods Cup, and they came back to win. Tommy Gaynor, who got involved in that defensive tangle. It wasn't the central defenders who were involved in that, it was the 2 players on the right flank who seemed to get in each other's way. So we had a late start, but Liverpool made up for lost time. And they've started in every way as though they really mean business. That's Nicol. Terry Wilson, number 5 for Nottingham Forest, the youngest player in the match at 20. Just a little bit younger than Steve Staunton on the other side. Well, Ronnie Whelan, who's captained Liverpool so well this season, couldn't have asked for a better start here. Hodge for Forest. Whelan got in front of him. This is Chapman. Clough. Barnes. Staunton looking for Beardsley. Staunton again. Barnes heading it back. This is Whelan. Staunton well forward with the attack. McMahon. Play on, says Ray Lewis. This is Nicol. Forward by Hansen. Forest are being examined on that long high ball, as Trevor mentioned. Oh, well played by Nicol, back into Whelan. This is Houghton and it's a corner. Beardsley calling for it to be pulled back. This is Barnes. McMahon feeds it in. Walker, not really away. Barnes again. Aldridge hovering on the far side. They've got problems with Barnes. Terry Wilson clears for another corner. And Barnes looks to me to be in mercurial form. And all the action in this opening period is at the Nottingham Forest end. 10 minutes have gone. Liverpool lead 1-0. Aldridge hands-on hits on the 6-yard line. And the referee is saying the corner must be taken from the other side. So Ray Houghton has gone trotting across. Two linesmen, by the way, are David Axel of Southend and John Brandwood of Lichfield. That's David Axel over just supervising the corner kick. Now Staunton's gone to help Houghton. Neil Webb with the header out. Not very far. Staunton again. Forest can't clear their lines. They're being penned back in. Lee Chapman. Only to Hansen. Good challenge by Steve Hodge. It needed something like that for Forest. They're just not getting to the ball as quickly as Liverpool. Hansen again. Commanding stuff this early on from the team chasing the double. Staunton. Forest don't seem to be able to get possession. McMahon. This is Hansen. Good running by Peter Beardsley through the inside right position, and then by Houghton further out. Liverpool's movement off the ball, always an education. Barnes. And Forest are backpedaling. Walker and Wilson are really stretched at the moment because Beardsley is full of movement up there and they're pulling them one way and then the other, and now Whelan's made a run and they've got to cover him now, and Wilson gets the head to it. McMahon tucks it inside to Houghton and then it goes to Whelan and Houghton again to Aldridge. They can't get out of their own half, Nottingham Forest. Staunton, Whelan, Houghton, to his right, Beardsley. Just moving around from one red shirt to another. Barnes. Now at last, Forest break it all up. Tommy Gaynor it was who got a foot in and gets the return from Clough. Grobbelaar thought about coming and went back quickly. It's Gaynor on the ball. McMahon got to him. Gaynor got it back. Barnes helped out. And that's McMahon again. And the crowd warming to every challenge. Really good competitive play. Steve McMahon, as Forest got out of their own half for almost the first time. Brian Laws to take the throw. Webb. And again. Chapman's waiting in the centre. This is Wilson. Pearce. Handball, Chapman.
Well, that was one of the few occasions, in 13-14 minutes that Nottingham Forest have been able to string 3 or 4 passes together. It's one of those situations where, as a Nottingham Forest player, you think to yourself, well, I've only had 2 or 3 touches and the game's already almost a quarter of an hour underway. And what they need is just to take breath, get a few of those touches and regain that confidence that has just knocked them completely out of their stride since the goal.
That was the first goal, by the way, that Forest have conceded in the FA Cup this season. They'd kept a clean sheet in every other round. And Steve Sutton, who'd kept all those clean sheets, will probably feel a little hard done by that it came the way it did after he made a good save. He'd been virtually impregnable up to that point in the competition. A quarter of an hour gone here at Old Trafford in the FA Cup semi-final. If you joined us late, in fact the match was late starting anyway, but if you missed the kick-off and the early moments, Liverpool lead 1-0. The goal scorer Aldridge with a header after Barnes' shot had been saved. 1-0 the score. Pearce. Parker comes inside Ray Houghton. Chapman in the centre waiting. Good club this is. Away by Hansen. Barnes with the header on. Beardsley. Parker for Forest. Webb. Parker. It's a beautiful day here in Manchester. And it'll be very warm down there for the players, there's no question about that. Walker. Hodge. Webb, good move by Forest this, very good move. Hodge again. Gainer to Laws. Oh. Up the long ball and the short ball game so effectively, Liverpool at times. That's one of the strengths of their great experience. Gathered in big matches of all kinds. This is Barnes, but Webb to Clough. McMahon again, so good in the tackle, gets it back from Houghton. Shakes off the challenge of Hodge. Aldridge the only man up ahead of him, so he's got to wait for Steve Nicol, the footballer of the year. And even he isn't Superman. Hansen. Ablett. And now Whelan. Careless bit of play by Barnes for once. This is Webb. And it's Chapman. Offside, Tommy Gaynor.
Just beginning to come that little bit into the game now, Nottingham Forest. Got 1 or 2 passes in midfield, because it's in midfield where Liverpool took that grip. Steve McMahon and Ronnie Whelan never letting them settle on the ball, and they're hustling Nigel Clough, who of course has that sort of role of dropping deep and allowing Hodge and Webb to sort of take the space that he's created.
Yes, that's interesting. He is actually coming into McMahon and Whelan territory there, and they're, as you say, bustling him out of it at the moment. This is Staunton. And Walker with the header back. There's Walker, the 23-year-old England defender. This is Ablett. Liverpool have got plenty of time to work the ball across their back four. They're strolling through it really at this stage. Forest are not pushing up quite that far. They're just forming their line a bit further back. But Liverpool's passing is so good normally that they can work themselves out of that area given time. Forest fans don't like it, but here's Parker. Webb. Clough. And again it's McMahon snapping at his heels. Foul surely this time. McMahon kicks the ball away. Petulant. Ray Lewis doesn't want to have to resort to the yellow card today if he can avoid it. But McMahon did commit the foul, and it is a free kick. And Pearce will take it. And as the conversation goes on, Wilson has made his way up. And Grobbelaar is arguing with his defenders at the moment. He's a long way out. This is Webb. Laws, and now Beardsley. It's broken for Liverpool, and of course there's movement on both sides. It's Ablett who's broken from the back on the left. Gary Ablett, the number 2. Brilliant run. Laws got to him. Corner. It's the fluid Liverpool style. Ablett the man to lead the charge. Barnes. Liverpool have only got Aldridge and Beardsley in the penalty area at the moment. 20 minutes gone in the first half. Houghton, Barnes, and a corner again. They don't need to pack people in there when they can work the angle like that. 20 minutes then. And I think Des Walker was the player hurt there. He blocked the attempted cross. Kenny Dalglish, who was a spectator at Main Road yesterday, a match I saw, quite extraordinary game between Manchester City and Bournemouth, which people in Manchester are still talking about actually this morning. But in this match at Old Trafford, Steve Sutton beaten after 4 minutes by Aldridge, 1-0 to Liverpool. Barnes takes the corner, it's floated. Nicholl and Aldridge up together. This is McMahon. And this is Staunton.
Good strike by Steve Staunton, and big Jack Charlton's quite pleased, just to think he's been forcing his way in the Republic of Ireland side, and he's a good attacking fullback. I mean, him on one side and Stevie Nicholl the other is as good a pairing as you can wish to have.
Yes, they're keeping the likes of Venison and Burrows out of the side at the moment. Well, Staunton certainly is, having forced his way into the team. This is Barnes, offside Aldridge. Steve Staunton, who has already been capped by Jack, as you say, and Liverpool produce another highly promising young player. Here's Lee Chapman for Nottingham Forest. Parker. Laws touched the ball in. That was McMahon, and this is Barnes. Oh, he's skated past Laws. He's got 3 the other way for Liverpool. Staunton's made the run from left back here. Houghton in a great position if he can be found. Wilson scrambles the ball away. But the left side of the Liverpool team was where Forest were really taken apart. On their right, that is, in last year's semi-final, and Barnes is starting to do it again.
Steve Staunton got up with John Barnes there again, and at the moment Staunton and Nicholl are getting forward so much that Tommy Gaynor and Gary Parker are having to defend back in their own half, and they're never getting forward to support Nigel Clough and Lee Chapman, and unless those 2 wide midfield players can get the 2 Liverpool fullbacks going back towards their own goal, Nottingham Forest are going to struggle to get into this game.
Absolutely, it's been dominated the opening 25 minutes or so by Liverpool, who seem to have time and space. That's Staunton, a long ball, and Beardsley's got the other side of Wilson. Aldridge is in the middle. It's still Beardsley. It's still Beardsley. In fact, Aldridge and Houghton were waiting then.
Long ball tactic has caused problems, hasn't it, to the Des Walker and Terry Wilson. There's no doubt the goals they conceded against Everton have been watched by Kenny Dalglish, and it's a tactic is decided that they're going to try and exploit today.
That's right. One of the few games Forest have lost in recent times was at Wimbledon 4-1, and I remember Don Howe telling me that Wimbledon's long ball game gave Forest great concern that day. They're on the attack now, though, with Pearce. Parker. Webb trying to bring some method to the Forest play. This is Pearce. Webb again. Now Clough, a nice little turn. Tommy Gaynor out right. Mishit it. Hodge is doing his level best to get amongst it there and break up Liverpool's play and rhythm. What a good bit of play again by Barnes and Staunton, and Beardsley helps the ball on. Staunton continued his run. Hodge. Foul. By Beardsley. For any latecomers, Liverpool lead 1-0 in this semi-final. The scorer, John Aldridge, after 4 minutes. This is Webb for Forest. Imagine whether you're eating your Sunday lunch or whether you've delayed it today, you can't take your eyes off this for very long. It's offside against Beardsley. Not the first time a semi-final has been played at this time of day. There was the similar situation, was it 2 years ago, Coventry and Leeds. This is Webb. Trying to get the ball out to Barnes whenever possible, and you can understand why. Webb, that's a good turn by Neil Webb. Chapman, look at McMahon in there again. Barnes drives it forward. That was a terrific ball for Aldridge. He's got away from Terry Wilson. Pearce has gone across as the cover. Good piece of fullback play that by the England left back. And John Barnes' delivery from that deep left half position, quite superb. He put Aldridge in the clear. Here's Barnes again. Smashing past that. Barnes again, he's dragging it back. Hodge tries to... Yes, he does clear it to Chapman. Again. But he's been beaten by Houghton, Staunton, McMahon, and Hansen. Again, the play strung out in the Nottingham Forest half. That's been the pattern. Good ball again. Barnes to Staunton. Beardsley couldn't reach it. Houghton could. Walker. Parker, they're not clearing the ball well, Forest. It's going back to a Liverpool player all the time. Nicol. That was better from Neil Webb. He has shown one or two good touches. Gaynor. Nigel Clough and Ray Houghton. Pearce. Parker. Aldridge looks for Nicol. Walker across. This is Gaynor. I think the temperature down there on the pitch is very high, and I would think the heat may affect the way this game is being played. I honestly think it's Liverpool particularly is slowing it down. because the shirt-sleeve crowd reflecting just how hot it is here in Manchester, and these players could be out there for quite a while if you think that there could even be extra time today. But Liverpool have got a reason to conserve energy. They're one up, having scored after 4 minutes. It's almost like watching a World Cup match in the middle of summer at the moment. Well, we've been playing half an hour. And the feature of this opening half hour, the combination here on the left of Staunton and Barnes. Broken up this time by Webb. Up here in the commentary position, it's 76 degrees. So what it's like on the pitch, I don't know, but Trevor Brooking and I have both got our jackets off because it's real cricketing weather, this, Trevor.
Well, it is, and I can assure you it's Nottingham Forest who will be feeling the more time, because Liverpool have played great possession football. And when Nottingham Forest just have to run around without getting a touch of the football, I can assure you feel a lot more tired.
But here's a touch for Clough. That was the first hint of an opening for Nottingham Forest, and Liverpool's defence parted a little bit there in front of Grobbelaar. Here's Hansen. That was the first sight Forest had really had of the Liverpool goal, and Nigel Clough was very quick to get his shot in, I must say. This is McMahon. Nicol. Barnes. He's coming inside this time. Beardsley. Hodge stepped in. Well, Stuart Pearce has decided to run into the Forest attack, make an extra man up there. Number 3. Clough. Good ball. Tucked back in by Gaynor to Chapman. Staunton for Liverpool. I've seen some spectators affected by the heat, and it's noticeable how quickly the first aid facilities have been activated. There's Chapman. Oh, McMahon made a mistake, and Clough couldn't quite get there, and Webb and a deflection, and that's gone in. It's a goal for Nottingham Forest. Grobbelaar, I think, was deceived by a deflection from Webb's shot, and Forest are level in the 33rd minute. It came from the throw-in, and this was unexpected. Lee Chapman got a McMahon's error, really. It comes back to Webb, he strikes it against the post and over the line. Grobbelaar couldn't grab it, Trevor.
I would have thought Bruce Grobbelaar saw it very late. It came through a lot of legs there, and good strike by Neil Webb. And of course, it was a long throw-in, which in fact brought Nottingham Forest back into the semi-final last year. They got Nigel Clough a toe in then. But Liverpool will be a little bit shell-shocked, because having played so well, to suddenly find themselves level will be very disappointing.
Well, this was what Nottingham Forest really needed, a goal out of nothing. It struck by, I'm sure that was deflected, but anyway, it's a goal. Grobbelaar either was unsighted or deceived by a deflection, but anyway, he couldn't get it down by the post, and it's 1-1, and that's put this semi-final into just the sort of perfectly balanced position that you would want as a neutral. Barnes. Barnes crossed. Oh! Against the bar! Aldridge. What a match we've got here now. It's come to life in the last couple of minutes. Beardsley. Houghton. John Aldridge hit the bar in that last attack. So close to his second goal and to restoring Liverpool's lead within a couple of minutes of Forest equalising. But here come Forest again with Pearce. Thundering forward. Parker. This is Nicol. Good cross again. And Barnes. It hit his own player, Aldridge. Testing my memory a bit here, but I think we've seen Forest come back in 3 big cup ties now from being a goal down. This is Gaynor. It's a good run by Tommy Gaynor, but he couldn't find Parker. Nicol was there instead. I think they conceded the first goal in the Littlewoods and the Simod Cup finals, and again today. But one of the things about Brian Clough's team is they don't change their pattern. Although they had a lot of defending to do, they got their game together, started to pass the ball around a bit, and they're level. Laws. Wilson. And it's Liverpool who are panicking a bit now. I still think when we look back on that, but here's Liverpool. We'll look back in a minute. Ablett. Aldridge is going forward through the middle. There he is. I still think, Trevor, when we look back on that Forest goal, you know, I think Steve McMahon made a mistake in defence prior to the ball coming out to Webb. There was certainly a miskick in there somewhere, but this is a bit of magic by John Barnes and a header by Aldridge and against the bar. Left in the first half. Liverpool 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Aldridge for Liverpool, Webb for Forest, and then Aldridge against the bar. All very exciting. And most of that excitement being produced by Barnes. Gaynor has to come back again. I remember, it seems an age ago now, in our Sports Night programme, Don Howe previewing this semi-final, making the point that the long throw, as Trevor Brooking said, which caused Liverpool to concede a goal in last year's semi, has worked again here for Forest. The long throw and the flick on, and the little panic that ensued, gave Webb the opening. McMahon. This is Staunton, and this is Barnes. These two have a telepathic understanding now. But Beardsley obviously hasn't for the moment. This is Parker. That Parker bustled out of it by Steve Nicol, and again they look for Aldridge on that through ball. Beardsley. Barnes. Oh, look at that round the back again. Not a particularly good cross by his standards, but again he found space on the outside. That's a foul by Hansen on Clough. A McMahon is again angry. Just think Steve McMahon is so hyped up, Trevor, for this game that he's just letting his feelings run away with him a couple of times.
I think the referee Ray Lewis is doing very well. He's just trying to take the sting out of it. Naturally enough, there's a lot of tension and a bit of frustration, I think, from Steve McMahon that they've conceded that goal just when they seem to be controlling the match.
Well, that's what makes football the wonderful game that at its best it is. You just can't tell. It was very much Liverpool's match for nearly half an hour. Now there are 5 minutes left in the first half and it's anybody's game. On by Chapman. This is Nicol. Again, he's looking for that long through ball to test out Walker and Wilson. Pearce. Alan Hansen. Still with that deceptively leisurely air in the heat, literally, of a hectic semi-final, with the supporters playing their full and proper part here. And Hansen finds Beardsley. Say it's a good time to score just before half-time. I would have thought any time's a good time to score, but there you go, it's one of those things people say. This is McMahon. Here's Houghton. McMahon again. Oh, he's in! No, cover from Laws. Well played, though. Well, Steve Sutton didn't have a lot of luck on the goal, but he got a bit of luck when Aldridge hit the bar, so perhaps that's evened itself out a bit at that end. 3 minutes left in the half in the FA Cup semi-final. Everton awaiting the winners. Liverpool 1, Forest 1. It has to be settled today. Forward by Hansen. Beardsley with Wilson, free kick to Forest. What are your overall impressions of this half, Trevor?
There's no doubt Liverpool controlled the game for the first half an hour, and Nottingham Forest were having problems getting into the match. And really, although we criticise Liverpool perhaps for not getting that long throw away, I think we should give Neil Webb a lot of credit for the strike, because I remember one of the earlier rounds at Watford, he hit one from outside the area, and on that occasion again today, left foot, and he hit it well, although Bruce Grobbelaar would have seen it late. He didn't appeal Bruce when the referee gave the goal, so it was certainly over the line, and it has transformed the game. There's no doubt Nottingham Forest now have got that little bit more confidence, and an extra yard, I think, in pace now since they got that equaliser.
It was Barnes, and this is Beardsley. Mistake by Walker for a moment. Aldridge is in. The whistle's gone already before the appeal for a penalty. I would say offside there, or else a push. But the Liverpool player was penalised before we even got into an argument about Pearce coming in behind him. The flag was up, and I would suspect there was a case for offside. Houghton. They're just trying to jab that through ball all the time, either side of the centre-backs. Webb, McMahon, free kick, and now they're squaring up. Well, there's a buzz going round Old Trafford after what we've seen, particularly in this last 10 minutes. The game changing course, and with a minute to go in the half, Nottingham Forest look as though they'll go in level. Offside, offside, the flag's up. Again the long ball from Hansen. And again the header by Wilson. Webb. Tommy Gaynor. It's Ablett. We're in time being added on now for stoppages by Ray Lewis at the end of this first half. There won't be much of that. So, half-time in the FA Cup semi-final. Liverpool 1, Kenny Dalglish's team off to a flyer, but Nottingham Forest coming back on 33 minutes to level things. After that, Liverpool hit the bar. Plenty of activity, plenty of incident. The score's level. Thanks very much, Des. Nottingham Forest players being welcomed by the supporters back onto the pitch. And as Stuart Pearce leads them out, they'll be reflecting, no doubt, that their dream of 3 cups in one season is still alive, and Liverpool's of the double obviously stands as well at this stage. Just a reminder of who the substitutes are today, because that could come into play later on. Ian Rush is one of the subs, and it will be interesting, Trevor, to see at what point Kenny Dalglish might think about using him if the score stayed level or they went behind.
It really depends how the flow goes. I mean, he came on for John Aldridge in the Merseyside derby, but I mean, Jordan Aldridge does look more like his old sharp self today, and be very interesting to see, you know, just whether the heat does take this thing out of some of the players, and all 4 subs are used.
Yes, John Aldridge scored twice in the semi-final against Forest last year. He's got 1 today and hit the bar, so he's not the kind of fella you'd take off without serious thought, is he? That's Gary Ablett, and here's Terry Wilson. Webb. Gaynor. Liverpool now playing right to left, attacking the Stretford end, as it's known here. I'm told that the crowd is around the 38,000 mark. An indication that 13,000 tickets were not taken up for this match. There's Walker. That's a free kick. It was a foul by him on Aldridge. And the 2 Nottingham Forest substitutes are 2 youngsters, Lee Glover 19 and Phil Starbuck 20. Getting the vote over Franz Carr, among others. Webb. This is Whelan. And now McMahon. Staunton. Barnes. Inside to McMahon. And this is Beardsley. Staunton. Gaynor and Barnes tangling. It's all a bit tight there. Staunton for Liverpool. It'll run on for Houghton. Shot struck Walker. Nicol. Really good play by Steve Nicol. It was over the head of Aldridge from Steve Nicol, but it caused Forest a little bit of a panic. Here's Webb.
office immediately after the match. Mr. Peter Hampson.
It's 30 years since Nottingham Forest actually reached an FA Cup final, 1959, and Brian Clough has never reached one as a player or a manager in some 35 years in the game. Alan Hansen, the man on the ball, is playing his 11th FA Cup semi-final match this afternoon. Just goes to show the amount of times Liverpool have been involved at this stage in recent years. Here's Whelan. Some of those were replays, of course, which we won't be having this year. Chapman. Foul. Ray Lewis right next to the play there. And here's Neil Webb. Clough. Forward by Houghton. Barnes. Beardsley. McMahon, good running. Beardsley again. Gets the throw. Liverpool's fans at that end hoping for the sort of start to the second half that they had to the first. It's going to be Steve Staunton with the throw. Barnes. Walker away. 5 minutes gone in the second half. It was Brian Laws who lost the place there for a moment. This is Whelan. Nicol. Hodge was snapping in a little bit, so was Parker, trying to restrict Liverpool's movement there in midfield. Pearce with the header. Whelan. Aldridge looking for Beardsley. Walker wants the ball to run, and Beardsley settles for a throw. In these almost sweltering conditions, lovely for the crowd, but as I said earlier, extremely hot for the players. This is Whelan. Houghton. Hansen finds McMahon. Liverpool again start to set their stall out in the Forest half. Spread the play to Staunton. But that's harmless.
Kenny Dalglish there looking very pensive, but sure he's pleased that Liverpool have again started this half really as they started the match, taking a grip, and John Barnes, of course, probably the match star in that first half, but I think a lot of credit to Steve Staunton, who wasted that cross, but there's no doubt his support and his early passes to John Barnes do help him get possession early and cause the havoc.
Well, here's Barnes again. Wilson didn't make that, McMahon did. This is Aldridge. Houghton's in the penalty area. There are several waiting to come in on it, but Webb with McMahon. Nicol. Beardsley, Nicol. Steve Nicol still. Appeals for handball against Stuart Pearce by Steve Nicol. Not given. Corner. Nobody else appealed. Nicol again. McMahon.
He'll be disappointed. It's not an easy one to hit, coming in late like that, but again, it was a well-worked corner kick. You very, very rarely see Liverpool take long corners. They love to take those quick corners and get people coming into the penalty box late, and that's what Steve McMahon did. And he was just stretching for his volley, and there's Brian Clough probably wondering where the person marking Steve McMahon was.
He's almost a face in the crowd today, isn't he? Here's Tommy Gaynor. Actually, things taken care of pretty well further down there on the bench by people like Liam O'Kane, but Archie Gemmell on the staff as well, of course, former Forest player. And Ronnie Fenton is Brian Clough's assistant. This is Clough. Ablett. And Staunton, who's played so well at left-back in his first match of this magnitude in many ways. I suppose there may be some people that came in at the end of the first half. It's 1-1 here in the semi-final. Aldridge early on for Liverpool, Webb for Forest after 33 minutes. And another Aldridge effort hit the bar. But we still are no nearer to knowing who plays Everton in the final a week next Saturday. That's a long ball by Staunton. Aldridge climbing a bit on Walker, or more than a bit. Webb. Pearce looks for Chapman, but he's having a pretty tough time trying to shake off the attentions of Hansen and Ablett. Barnes. Terry Wilson having a quick look up because Aldridge was cutting off the back pass. And now it's Whelan. Danger here. Houghton's made a good run through, leaving it to the right to Nicol to break outside. There he goes. Pearce is so good on cover. And Hodge, nice and tidy. Parker to Chapman. But he wanted a bit too long in his turning circle really there, and he'll be quite glad to get the free kick. 10 minutes gone in the second half. 1-1. And Staunton again beats Tommy Gaynor. This is Barnes. Through the middle, Aldridge chasing. Mistake by Walker. Aldridge, great save Sutton. Aldridge again. Can he pull it back to Beardsley? No, he can't. Corner. Houghton actually would have been a better choice. He was screaming for it, but it's so easy from up here. Sutton takes credit. Good save. How important, we'll see. Here's Nicol. Nicol's cross. Oh, and Sutton had to pour at it. Just got a hand. Staunton. Liverpool turning the screw. And Forest get the ball away, but that long ball through the middle again caught out Des Walker, and John Aldridge got in behind him. Houghton again. Oh, well played. Beardsley couldn't collect. Liverpool are threatening to do damage again. Whelan. Beardsley. Foul. Laws. Well, Steve Sutton is a very busy man just now. McMahon. This is Barnes. What a great cross by John Barnes, headed away by Neil Webb, and the crowd seemed to sense, the Liverpool section that is, that this could be the moment. There are times in matches when Liverpool quite distinctly move up a gear, and this is one of those moments now. Houghton. Barnes again. Houghton. Beardsley. Oh, it's got in! Tommy Gaynor couldn't stop Aldridge getting in, and Liverpool are back in front. Well, quite who that finally went in off, I'm not at all sure, but Tommy Gaynor was very close to it, number 7. Beardsley and Aldridge went in with him. Aldridge will claim it. It's Aldridge's goal. And and it's got 2 in this semi-final, 2 in last year's, and he's restored Liverpool's advantage. Gainer's cross, 58 minutes, Aldridge again. And just as we said, Liverpool looked as though they were going to score. They were right on cue. It was on the cards, and what a great cross again that brought the goal. A long ball now, Aldridge now on a hat-trick, handball by Beardsley. Good header by Aldridge, actually. There were 3 of them up together, but he made it his. What an outstanding goal-scoring record John has got. A real scouser. Nottingham Forest have to take some action. Tommy Gaynor has been pulled off, and Phil Starbuck, 20 years old, Nottingham born, number 14, gets a chance in the semi-final. Nicol. Houghton. Trevor.
Well, just time to take breath there, wasn't it? Because it's been an irresistible surge by Liverpool, really. The goal was inevitable. It was just a case of how long it was going to take before coming. A great spell of football, really, and they were getting through the Forest defence. Des Walker nearly conceded the goal when the backspin of the through pass by John Barnes deceived him, and Aldridge's shot was blocked. But in the end, John Aldridge got on the score sheet. A great header again.
John Aldridge, who felt the tragedy as keenly as anybody, being a true Liverpudlian, and he's come back strongly. 15 minutes gone in the second half. Liverpool 2, Nottingham Forest 1. Barnes for Liverpool. Are we going to see an all-Merseyside Cup final in 13 days' time? Or can Nottingham Forest drag themselves back yet again, as has been their habit in big cup ties? Clough. That's a long ball from Houghton. Twice behind, I think, weren't they, in the Simon? And this is a long way from being over yet. A lot of football to be played. It was almost as though, Trevor, here's Clough. It was almost as though the Liverpool supporters, in that 3 or 4 minutes leading up to the goal, were almost sucking the ball into the net at that Stretford end, you know.
And Nottingham Forest just couldn't get out of their own half, really. I mean, there was such a spell of pressure. And really, this is a problem Nottingham Forest are going to have to get back in this match, because at the moment they've got 8 or 9 men back at stages, and really Lee Chapman is isolated up front, and until they start to get men forward and support him better, they're not going to get those half chances that in fact got them into the game in the first half.
Well, a lot's been said about the bond between Liverpool and their fans. And if ever the backing got to the players on the field, then it certainly must have done in that 5-minute spell. The crowd turned up the volume. Liverpool turned on some terrific football, and they're back in front. Nicol, and there's movement everywhere now in red shirts. Nicol again, and still Nicol. Aldridge is now very close to a little not unique, but a feat that hasn't been achieved for quite a long time, you know, because it's 31 years since a player scored a hat-trick in an FA Cup semi-final. This is Beardsley. More of that later. This is Liverpool now really trying to capitalise on the lead. And should they do so with a third goal, then you would think that that would settle matters. Scarves being held up all around. Whelan. Well, Trevor, do you see Forest be able to cope with this kind of support? And they're really up against it now, aren't they?
A great problem is really even worse than the first half, when that first 30 minutes they couldn't seem to get any touches, and now of course they brought Starbuck on this right-hand side. It just makes you wonder, something must have happened during the week to France Carr, because you do feel his pace would have given them an outball. You know, that has always been part of their system for the last year or two, their success out. Neil Webb in particular picks the pace of France Carr out, and the fact that he wasn't on the bench, you just wonder what's gone on during the week, because I do feel he might have been just the type of player that would have enabled them to perhaps edge back into this game. But at the moment, Liverpool are playing so well, I think you've just got to sit back and enjoy the football that they're producing.
I think that's a very good suggestion, actually. People at home are doing just that. This is Starbuck. And this is Barnes. Oh, just look at that. He doesn't seem to be moving quickly. At the same time, he shows a yard of clear space beyond the man that's trying to get the ball from him. It's almost a languid stride, and yet it carries him so effortlessly past the nearest player. This is Wilson. Oh, that was an important interception. Clough would have been onside there. After what happened in the first half, we mustn't rule Forest out. Not until Liverpool score again, if they do. This is Wilson. As I've said 2 or 3 times, they've shown considerable character in cup matches already this season, in coming back when they've looked to be out of it. And with 20 minutes gone in the second half, they're still battling away for Brian Clough, but they're 2-1 down. It's the Liverpool fans who are at the moment making the noise. Here's Pearce for Forest. There are 1 or 2 Forest players who found it awfully hard to get into the game today. That's offside. I'm thinking of Chapman, of Parker. Even Nigel Clough, to an extent, is limited in how much he can affect the game. But they have a free kick here. Parker. Hansen looks to be, for a player who's been out all season, Trevor, very much back in his stride.
Oh, it's great to see him, isn't he? He seems to have so much time, which is always a hallmark of a great player. And I think you mentioned some of the Forest individuals that perhaps haven't got into the game, but also the Liverpool back four have surged forward themselves and have helped set up attacks, whereas the Nottingham Forest defence haven't done so. They've been too busy defending.
That's right. Wilson trying to attack now. They'll have to take a risk or two as the game wears on, of course, and that will increase the chances of a goal at either end, because if they leave themselves light at the back, then that long ball of Liverpool's will find them out again. Here's Starbuck in the meantime, and Beardsley for Liverpool. Hodge is at him. This is Wilson, and Clough finds Starbuck. Inside again to Clough. That was nicely worked, and Starbuck tries to get past Gary Ablett. There's a bit of shoving in the meantime. Actually, young Phil Starbuck does have a goal against Liverpool on his career record. Quite early in his first team days, he scored against them in a league match. And Forrest would be mighty pleased if he could come up with something today. Lee Chapman, the target there, felt he was pushed by Alan Hansen. This is Webb, who's worked terrifically hard to keep Forest in it. Starbuck. Good match Webb's had for Forest. McMahon. It's that through ball again, isn't it, Trevor, that they keep probing at that heart of that Forest defence. Look at Houghton on the chase now from Barnes. Aldridge has made his way into the penalty area on the far side. This is Houghton. Good little ball into Beardsley, trying to turn Hodge. Hansen. They work the ball so well and so comfortably from one side of the field to the other. Barnes. And now it's McMahon. Look at the space Steve Nicholls got over there. He's almost got the field to himself. Parker trying to shut it down now. And again, Nicol gets round the back. Pearce, a good tackle. Leading by example, the Forest captain. He knows they're up against it here. And it's very hot to make the sort of recovery runs that some of the Forest players are having to make now. As Liverpool dictate the game. Houghton. Oh, well played. Brilliantly played. Beardsley! From a magic little series of tricks by Ray Houghton on the right-hand side. He was teasing Stuart Pearce first one way, then the other. Then he took on Steve Hodge, pulled it back, and Peter Beardsley will feel, Trevor, that he should have scored.
I think he should have done. To be fair to him, I think he got one of those unkied bobbles just as he was about to play it, and it just popped up, and it was more of a shinner over the top rather than the side foot he originally intended. But it would have been the opportunity to perhaps sew the game up at this stage, and he'll be thinking about that until that final whistle.
He's having the best of luck with his finishing at the moment, Peter. He had a chance, didn't he, in the Merseyside derby in the week to settle it in the second half. Anyway, it's 2-1 here. Alan Hansen has the ball. Liverpool have nearly all the possession. And it is so clammy down there, so humid, that Nottingham Forest are, the temperature still up here of 76 Fahrenheit. Nottingham Forest are going to have to gasp for breath, really, as they chase around trying to cut down the space that Liverpool are utilising. They still find their own player, Aldridge. That was beautifully done again. Oh, and that's going to be an own goal, is it? Brian Laws. And Liverpool may now be in the cup final. Aldridge setting the play up with Beardsley. Barnes didn't touch it. Laws certainly did. That's an own goal. And it's 3-1 to Liverpool. 72 minutes, cruel on Brian Laws. Well, the cup can hurt, can't it? It's the cup that cheers for Liverpool, but it's a wretched moment for Brian Laws. I've got a feeling he was responsible for an own goal, perhaps earlier in the week, I'm not sure, in the match against Millwall, but certainly turned that one in. And it's 3-1, and those supporters are celebrating the strong possibility now of Liverpool, after all the tribulations of the last 3 weeks, qualifying for the FA Cup final against their Merseyside rivals Everton. 17 minutes left, 3-1 to the Reds. McMahon. Well, you've got to feel sorry for Steve Sutton, I suppose, to be beaten by your own player, Trevor.
It was one of the defender's nightmares, really. A cross coming right across the face of the goal there, and of course, when you're a fullback, it's always going to be on Brian Law's weaker foot. He's a right back, and he's going to have to make the clearance with his left foot, and just as he's about to do so, I think he hit the same bobble that it hit Peter Beardsley when he missed that opportunity, because it did pop up, and I think you'll find, if you speak to him afterwards, it was his left shin pad that will take the blame for that particular goal. But it's one of those incidents, unfortunately, that he'll remember, and it'll take a few weeks to get over.
Yeah, it was bad luck on Brian, wasn't it? Because he was involved in that mix-up on the first goal as well with Tommy Gaynor. He's not had the best of fortune out there, the right back. And funnily enough, Chettle last year in the semi-final playing in that position didn't have the best of fortune either against Barnes. It's on that side of the field where Liverpool have capitalised against Forest. But here's Starbuck. Again. What a good match Staunton's had. I think he might almost be a candidate for man of the match. That's a good ball by Beardsley to Houghton. Aldridge in the centre, hovering around the penalty spot. Hodge, keeping Forest moving, keeping their chins up. Pearce. It's looking as though there might be a few headaches for the Football League, the Football Association coming up with 15 minutes to go, and Liverpool leading 3-1. I suppose tomorrow morning's follow-up stories will be about fixture congestion. Anyway, this semi-final has still got a quarter of an hour to run. Liverpool with so many matches to fit in now. In fact, they play Forest again in a rearranged league game on Wednesday night at Anfield. Chapman. That happened last year, funnily enough. That's a repeat fixture a few days after the semi. That was that night when Liverpool ran riot and won 5-0 in one of the best exhibitions ever seen. So I wouldn't think Forest will relish going there again.
I'm sure Nottingham Forest will be pleased that you reminded him about that, Jim.
They're more concerned with what's going on down there for the moment. It's 3-1 against them. Clough, Whelan, and it looks as though Brian Clough's opportunity of reaching an FA Cup final may pass him by again. Having clinched 2 other competitions at Wembley in recent weeks, the hat-trick is fading now a little bit from Forest sights. McMahon. On the game, there's absolutely no question that Liverpool deserve to be in the lead that they've got. Good ball by Staunton. Walker. Chapman, Clough. That's better. Walker's through. Des Walker, who's never scored a goal for Nottingham Forest, could have made a name for himself in the semi-final, but so unused is he to being in that position, he spurned the chance. And I would have thought that with that may have gone Forest's last opportunity of staging what would have to be a dramatic recovery. He was clean through, he was onside, but he pushed that one wide of the post. The wrong player really to find himself in that position. If it had been Clough or Chapman. Clough's penalised now. Said that the 2 finalists will receive something like 37,000 tickets each this year so it seems as though Wembley will be packed with something like 75,000 Merseysiders on Saturday week. That's always assuming Liverpool don't throw away a 2-goal lead. Forest are still trying to snatch something out of what's a fairly forlorn situation. But 1 goal, and who knows? Pearce, Parker. Chance for the Forest fans to find their voices here. They're attacking with Chapman facing the throw. These long throws have given Liverpool a bit of trouble. Chapman again. It's a corner. Wilson, Chapman and Hodge the line up there at the near post. And Grobbelaar and Wilson coming together. Appeals for handball. Grobbelaar grabs it, looks around. Staunton, who they appealed against. Foul. Clough on McMahon. (3-1) to Liverpool. Aldridge 2 and an own goal by Laws. Webb for Forest. Aldridge taking his total for the season to 27. Ten minutes left in the second half. Doesn't look now as though we shall need extra time or that highly debatable penalty shootout. But it'll be interesting to see what happens about the cup final and whether there'll be room for a replay or not. Still to be decided. That's Pearce. Webb. Or Walker being hustled by McMahon. Hasn't been perhaps one of the better days for the England player at the back there. Steve Nicol, though, has looked very much what the football writers say he is. Footballer of the year. That's a good ball by Houghton. And Beardsley, a lovely dummy to set offside. Aldridge, is he? Well, in the end, McMahon lost it as he tried to check.
I think Steve McMahon realised John Aldridge was offside, that's why he didn't release it. And I mean, we've seen some outstanding individual performances, but the feature of Liverpool's players being their movement and their running off the ball. There's always 1 or 2 options for whoever's in possession, and that's the real hallmark of any great side, to have 2 or 3 options to play the ball.
Parker. Away by Hansen. Aldridge is now with Wilson. Barnes. I can't see Ian Rush getting on the pitch or getting back into the side perhaps at the moment, because Kenny Dalglish is 11 out there and John Aldridge in particular have done the job for him. Ray Houghton's been so influential, so effective. Still putting Steve Hodge in a corner there, Houghton. That's young Lee Glover, only 19. Looks as though he'll get his chance. Lee Glover, who's a Kettering boy actually, and suffered quite a serious injury earlier in the season when he was away with the Scotland under-21 squad in Norway, and he'll get an opportunity now to restake his claim because he's coming on in place of Gary Parker. So Forest have taken off their 2 wide players, which, as Trevor Brooking said, was a feature of the match. They couldn't get forward enough, really, because they were doing too much defending, or having to, and they've replaced them with the 2 youngsters. That's the position. 3-1 to Liverpool. And the sting seems to have gone out of the match now, Trevor, really.
Well, that third goal really did clinch it, and certainly the bench there, Ian Rush and Kenny Dalglish, as usual, standing up, and he must be absolutely delighted with the performance, because Merseyside derby on Wednesday, they looked as if they were getting warm towards this semi-final. The sharpness seemed to be coming back, and today they've given everyone a marvellous performance, and really that Merseyside match now, Saturday week, is going to be a bit special on May the 20th. Always remember in 1986 when I saw that particular game, the feature of the day for me was watching all the sets of supporters in blue and red all going to the ground together, and I'm sure that's going to be repeated on May the 20th.
There was a foul there, Trevor, by McMahon on Starbuck. The foot was raised, there was a bit of anger on the faces of the Forest players, and Ray Lewis has decided, and I have to say that McMahon has stretched the referee's patience a couple of times earlier, that he'll have to use the yellow card right at the end of this semi-final. I think Steve McMahon has gone through a pretty emotional time, has been very fired up, and just once or twice he's overstepped the mark. Referee's just telling Terry Wilson that to keep the spirit decent. It's been well refereed, this. Beardsley. There's 5 minutes to go in this semi-final now at Old Trafford. Liverpool lead Nottingham Forest by 3-1 and look set fair for the second all-Merseyside FA Cup final in 4 years. Starbuck, Webb, but here's Hodge trying to stop that happening. Without success. Nicol. And now Ronnie Whelan. And the Forest legs are tired now, and Liverpool are running them into the ground. It's Nicol. Whelan's just behind him. They've got Aldridge, Barnes and Beardsley in the middle. Beardsley. Well, 35 years Brian Clough's been in the game as player and manager, but he doesn't seem to have much luck in the FA Cup, does he? Here's his son. Wilson. Is there life left yet in Nottingham Forest towards the end of this gruelling game for them now, really? Starbuck. Liverpool's economy of movement, such a feature. Laws. Starbuck. Good play this by Forest, though. Nice and tidy. Hodge. They're going to fight it out right to the end. Webb. Pearce. Good-looking ball, that. O'Kane making sure that Forest don't capitulate. Ronnie Fenton down there as well. Archie Gemmell. They've still got a little bit of hope here. It's Clough to Hodge. But it's Beardsley tucking it across to Houghton, and now it opens up at the other end, with Steve Nicol making another one of those inspired runs down the right flank, and Lee Chapman trying to get to him, and so is Des Walker. Holds it up for Beardsley. Now Houghton. Nicol stays to the right. They're walking around now, most of the players. It's sweltering down there. Whelan. Forest fans don't like this very much. There are 2 minutes to go. Any thoughts, Trevor?
Well, it must feel disappointed, Nottingham Forest and Brian Clough, of course, but I think we should be a bit unfair if we didn't acknowledge that they've had a marvellous season themselves. They're a young team, 2 finals at Wembley and a semi-final of the FA Cup, and they'll look back and they've had a great season, but certainly today belongs to Liverpool.
Air of acceptance around the ground now as we enter the last minute of this FA Cup semi-final. Chapman has the ball for Nottingham Forest, who trail 3-1. Barnes for Liverpool, this time can't find Aldridge. Well, they said John Aldridge's place was under threat when Ian Rush came back from Juventus, and that obviously was the case, but he's gone on scoring goals. Laws, Starbuck, Webb, is the time for one more typical John Barnes run. Brian Laws forcing him out this time. A few disappointed Forest fans will be leaving early. But that's a good little ball by Nigel Clough to Lee Glover. Chapman in the middle. Stoppage time, still Glover. Played by McMahon. And Liverpool are through to the FA Cup final to play their Merseyside rivals Everton. Kenny Dalglish's team with a smile back on their faces, and on those of the supporters who were able to come today. The end of a traumatic 3 weeks for them. But they wanted to play, they did play, and they put on an exhibition which was worthy of the club and of the FA Cup semi-final. The double is still a possibility for Liverpool Football Club, but for Nottingham Forest, who come off with heads bowed, the hopes of 3 cup finals in one season are over. Kenny Dalglish congratulating his players. And Old Trafford bathed in sunshine as Liverpool celebrate. A performance of which their supporters will be proud. And that picture really speaks more than 1,000 words. So does that one. The bond between these people and Kenny Dalglish has never been stronger than it is now. This is a really great scene. Very meaningful to the players as well. Just look at that. So the warmth of the relationship on Merseyside between players and fans is underlined here at Old Trafford. Kenny Dalglish quite deliberately staying out till last. So the spirit of this great club lives on, and Kenny Dalglish will lead his side out at Wembley alongside their Merseyside neighbours Everton on Saturday week, having beaten Nottingham Forest by 3-1.
Well, light after darkness for Liverpool Football Club, quite irresistible today. And Jimmy, they really reached the high spots in that match.
Yes, obviously it seems that the gap that they had has refreshed them physically and spiritually, and they reached